So who will be the big winners of the market this year? Who are the most likely to end up on the back foot? And how on earth can you tell that sitting in January and hoping to make some money by December? Or maybe December shouldn't be your target. Maybe it should be December 2027 should be your target. Pick a date, any date, as long as it's a long time in the future. Paul Theron was earlier talking. He said all about you've got to look at themes, you've got to look at big companies, you've got to look at global ideas. You've got to break with the shackles of, 20 years ago you would have bought De Beers shares because De Beers was good and solid and paid a dividend, and then we went to Anglo-American, and then Cynthia Carroll didn't pay a dividend and the world lost faith in resources shares, and miners are on strike at Sibanye, and thank goodness it's got offshore operations because that's keeping it alive. All of these factors coming into the mix, and you can really get yourself into quite a muddle when it comes to try and look through noise and look through crisis and try to navigate elections and uncertainty and growth rates and forecasts and noise. How do we do that for this year?
I think you've got to focus on where you're going to see growth and consumption coming from. A lot of people are focused on geopolitical events that are taking place. Chinese are fighting with the Americans, the British are exiting Europe.
It's all important stuff and has an effect on the real world.
But, the average global consumer, what is he spending his money on, and how is his wallet being shared amongst the various things that he has to buy? If you look at the trends that are taking place, there's definitely a migration to digital consumption. So, whether you're in healthcare, or whether you're in retail, or whether you're in education, more and more of your consumer base are buying the stuff online. So you got to look at businesses that are growing their online offering, and they're able to accumulate, a lot of customers online. Now, Facebook. The reason Facebook, was so successful in the last 10 years is that it's got 1.2 billion users. It's got access to 1.2 billion consumers. So I think that's, as a theme, that's something that you must focus on. The other thing is, look at countries like the UK. Brexit's been hanging over them for a long time now. But certainly by March, April this year, it's going to be done one way or the other, and people are going to take a fresh look at countries like...
I'm willing to bet that it won't be done. But I've just got this funny feeling.
They may not have a deal,
no.
but one way or the other, with or without a deal, the news flow about Brexit has to come to an end at some point in time.
It has to stop. Please make it stop. Theresa May, make it stop. Paul, we look through to 2019. I like Nesan's broad brushstrokes thoughts on how to identify opportunity. In South Africa, and this is the great restriction of South Africa and South African focused investing, the only one company that fits that bill is Naspers, and it costs a fortune to buy a share in it.
Yes, look, this show is called Taking Stock. So I'm going to talk stock specifics.
Yes.
Holding local portfolio feels a bit like being in a lifeboat, and then there was a tsunami, and now you're hanging on to a few of the remaining large chunks of wood. In this instance, those chunks are reliable companies with global operations like Naspers, like Discovery, like Bidcorp. I wouldn't advise clients to get too adventurous in this environment and sell things that are down and buy other things that are, hot. I would just simply hang on to the quality and hope that by the middle of the year, the sentiment improvement for emerging markets lifts all of the boats, and also that an election here, which I think will go okay, gets us into an environment where people get a little bit more confident. Just because we didn't all die. And therefore, the market can pick up.
It's an old-fashioned saying. Confidence is the greatest form of stimulus any economy can get. If you feel that you are going to be better off 12 months from now than you are today, you're likely to be a little bit more exuberant in your spending, in your investing, in your attitude towards the country than if you go...
And I think that will happen. I think companies will be a little bit more forthcoming, stop hoarding cash, investing a little bit in new projects. Maybe the banks will get a bit more adventurous. So I'm really hoping that we'll see rising sentiment lift our market, and that should take its account across the board.
You just use two words which in investment markets are not a strategy. One is hope and one is should. But that is the level of uncertainty we're dealing with.
Globally, I think it's a more open field. So if you're in a position to invest globally in direct stocks, then I think you do want to be in things like, Facebook was mentioned. It didn't have a great year last year. Amazon seems to be still doing well. I like Google a lot. Apple has also not done well in the tail end of the year, but looks fine to me. The payment technology companies like Visa and MasterCard, some of the global brands like Nike and so on that are continuing to thrive from the way China continues to trade and all the other opportunities out there. Those for me are still on the buy list.
Listen, two more from you.
Global companies, I like cloud companies. There's a cloud provider called Equinix. Equinix. It's an American-based cloud. It's one of the biggest cloud infrastructure providers in the world.
How do you know? Yes, you can't see these blooming things. Yes,
but you know, and if you look at their revenue, I mean, it grows in like IT companies. You know, 20% a year. More and more people are going to migrate to the cloud. We know this is a long-term trend. So you know, those are the sort of things that I'd look to invest in. And I still like European luxury good companies, the likes of LVMH and Ferrari, and you know, aspirant brands, high-end
brands. Would you chuck
brands.
Richemont into that mix?
Richemont, I would, but you know, it's really only Cartier jewelry that I think is going to be the watch companies. I think are but too overtraded.
We're going to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for coming in. That's where we will leave it for this evening. A brave look ahead to 2019 and all of the uncertainties that persist there, of course. Our guests, Paul Theron and Nesan Nair. Thank you for watching at home, and until next time, have a very good evening. Good night. Thank you.